Today I'm talking with Bill Wallace, US Ignite, and my friend Mark Erickson from Minnesota, from Sibley County, Winthrop in particular, who you've built an incredible network. I'm Chris Mitchell with the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, and we're going to be talking a bit about this great network that's being built in Minnesota and how US Ignite, this great national program highlighting next-level connectivity, how that plays in and how that impacts in rural networks and these new connectivity. I'd like to start, Mark, with you just telling us what is RS Fiber Co-op?
RS Fiber Cooperative is a fiber to the home and fiber to the farm network in Sibley County, about 650 square miles, a gigabit symmetrical access, and from my perspective, from the board's perspective, having the network is critical. But what we do with the network is really going to determine what kind of value we get from it. Healthcare, education, ag production, senior citizens, how we use that network is going to determine whether it was worth the investment or not.
I'm starting to get the idea that US Ignite is not a national collective of pyromaniacs. What is US Ignite?
Yeah, US Ignite was set up about 4 years ago to come up with new services and applications that can take advantage of these next generation networks that Mark described. We were set up by the National Science Foundation and the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. We view ourselves a little bit like the people in 1992 who had this first internet. We're trying to figure out what to do with it before the Mosaic browser came along and the search engines early on. We're trying to find the equivalent of Mosaic or the Alta Vista search engine that will take advantage of these networks in ways and provide services and applications that cannot be conducted on today's network. And we're very much focused on sectors like healthcare and education, workforce development, transportation, public safety, and advanced manufacturing.
You talk about what the future of the networks is going to be, and I find that interesting because every now and then people ask me what I think the future of the internet will be and the services, and I struggle to think of how do you think of something that you can't really imagine, right? I mean, we can only think about, well, we move bits around and we're downloading pictures.
There are a couple of characteristics that we describe, and we're not so bold to think that we're going to come up with the definition of applications and services. There are lots of people out there in ecosystems, innovation ecosystems in the 50 communities that are part of US Ignite who are going to do that. But we know that the services and applications are going to be highly immersive. So if you are in a classroom, you will be as if you were there. If you're studying the Civil War, you'll be in the middle of a Civil War battle at Gettysburg. Okay? They will involve massive amounts of big data. They will provide low latency, so if you're looking at a microscope 2,000 miles away, you can turn the microscope and see no perceptible hitches in that microscope.
Well, and Susan Crawford talks about being able to play music together in an ensemble that's split by perhaps thousands of miles, but in fact is within a few milliseconds of each other over
Exactly,
fiber.
and these networks do provide latency latency the range.
One of the things that I'm always curious when I'm interviewing people is to ask them, you know, you've been working with US Ignite for several years. What's the best outcome or the best story in terms of something that comes to mind and inspires you to keep doing this work?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, it's the story of a single STEM high school student who started off in the STEM high school in Chattanooga, had never been on an airplane. And that student was able to learn from one of the preeminent biologists at USC, 2,000 miles away, about marine biology by actually hearing that professor, as if the professor were in the same room, examine 4K microorganisms from the Pacific Ocean under a microscope, as if she were in the ocean, and manipulate the microscope to see different parts of that. So on an individual basis, that's the kind of story. And then she says, in the quote in the video we have, she said her interest level in marine biology started off here, but then it ended up being here. And on a micro level, that's what's going on. On a macro level, we're seeing thousands of jobs created in the cities that have gotten ahead of this fiber boom and are actually taking advantage of them.
I'm curious to hear what's most inspiring for you or how the network would impact someone.
What I'm excited about is there's a company in Minnesota, an entrepreneur named John Goodman, and he has a company called View Media. And he has some software and hardware that he can demonstrate, and it's really interesting. But it works like this. So, Chris, you're an old man, and you're by yourself, and you're sitting in your house, and you're watching TV, and it's time to take your meds. Okay, and this all comes through the TV. Your email, your pictures, it all comes through the TV. And all of a sudden, the TV stops right in the middle of Andy Griffith. I know it upsets you. And it starts to record so you don't lose anything, and a voice says, Chris, you have to take your meds now. And you go, yeah, I took them 5 minutes ago, don't worry about it. And they start the TV again. Well, they do a house visit and they find out that you're not taking your meds. So the next time you have to take your meds, Andy Griffith stops, and they say, Chris, you have to take your meds again. You said, yeah, I'll do that. And they said, no, Chris, you have to come and stand in front of the TV and we have to actually see you take your meds before we'll turn the TV back on. And you're compelled to go take your meds. Well, that's not Big Brother, that's family saying we want Chris, our favorite grandfather, to have a life that's long in his home, and we want him to live there longer. And that's what I'm most excited about, what it can do for elderly, because I'm going to be there soon someday, so I want some solutions.
I'm excited for that aspect of technology when it's actually Andy Griffith himself
Yeah.
who's telling you,
He's back.
we're not continuing our show.
Or
until-"
Barney's going to come over, and yeah.
By the way, one of the great applications that's been developed by one of the professors who's worked with us, is a woman named Marge Skubik, is doing remote physical therapy for folks who are aging in place. And basically the doctor and the physical therapist can lead them through the therapy, and they can monitor their vital symptoms and results remotely.
Have you seen examples of what it can do to help people in rural areas share their incredible knowledge? I mean, my wife's parents live up in northern Minnesota in an area that's very low population density, very slow internet access. And her dad, just to give one sense, is a tremendous woodworker. You know, he's just, the people that live in rural America, I think we're not giving them something. I think we're enabling them to be more productive members of our national society, right?
Sure,
And I'm
sure.
just curious if you see if it triggers anything for
we
you.
have some small communities in the South. Jackson, Tennessee is one of them, where there are woodworkers and there are folks who are using these new networks to reach global markets, but also to convey. Like in Burlington, Vermont, there's a very strong storytelling history of young people writing stories, and they're able to better produce and share their results and their stories by being connected to the rest of the world.